Greetings and welcome to the Spiritual Awareness Journey program, a virtual spiritual talk platform where the practical application of all things spiritual in our daily living is shared and discussed by experienced speakers from all walks of life, as well as our special guests who are realized souls called Mahatmas. This hour is brought to you by the Manav Dharam YouTube channel. I am your host, Janvi Nanda, and we are delighted to welcome you from all around the world to spend the next hour with us as we address this week's topic, spirituality and nutrition. For today's program, we are excited to introduce to you our experienced panel, our two speakers, Mr. Atanas Ivanovsky and Mrs. Veena Vora, as well as our special guest, Mahatma Dhoni, who will elaborate on this episode's topic, spirituality and nutrition. We will hear of their insights and understanding on the effects of our consumption of nutrition and how it may impact the wellness of our life, as we will also address the spiritual aspect of nourishment for us humans. We humans, as spiritual beings, in this human existence, have the ability to connect with our original spiritual source, and with the proper, all-encompassing nourishment, have the potential to not only enjoy a state of wellness, but to also achieve a higher state of consciousness. Learning to embrace and nurture both aspects of living, we as a person have the potential to build a solid and healthy foundation in our life. And while consciously journeying this human existence, we as a spiritual being, who we in essence are, can understand the real purpose, the real meaning of our life, and live a prosperous, well-adapted and meaningful life. As we belong to this one race, the human race, we humans have the ability through our energy intake to raise our vibration to a most positive, most high and vibrant state of wellness. And we, as a spiritual beings, can bring heaven on earth. We hope our speakers will inspire you to know more about the importance of nourishment, of nourishing our whole being, and seek to receive that spiritual knowledge to know how to connect with and nourish our own true self, which in reality is part and parcel of our divine essence. By acquiring spiritual knowledge, we can forge a true connection with our spirit and soul to start our own practical spiritual awareness journey, and nourished, consciously expanding in our spiritual potentials, find peace, joy, and purpose in life. By journeying together as the one race, reaching our full potential, we can attain our true goal, a spiritual enlightened world. Starting the program today, our first speaker is Mr. Atanas Ivanovsky. Atanas is living in Canada. He is presently working, studying, and is actively engaged in sports and nutrition research. After being introduced to spirituality and the teachings in understanding the value of our life, he has taken a different approach to his well-being compared to his traditional upbringing and food choices and habits. He will now share with us his experience and understanding.
Hi, Janvi. Thank you all, and thank you for welcoming me at this event. I'll base my presentation on a specific angle, and it will be in the study of lifestyle choices and nutrition and how it affects our well-being spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Hopefully through this presentation, I can reach out to your hearts and bring some curiosity in your minds about this subject. I have personally studied nutrition, spiritual practices in the last 15 years. And the life that I have lived so far and the experiences that brought me where I am today are based on various extremes, trials and errors, observation and experience. Recently, I had the pleasure of listening to Dr. Rashid Bittar, and I remember his comments about science and what the term actually represents. So what he said is that the purest form of science is observation. And even if you forget or negate everything I have to say today, so please remember this. The purest form of science is observation. I will begin with that on this plane of existence, one of our sources of energy for movement, for the medium, the body, is food, and the food predominantly in the form of gross matter. And there are more subtle sources of energy as fuel, like the water, the air through our breathing process, the mind with its faculties and powers, how it can get connected with the energy body and the universe. That being said, our body can get nurtured through various modalities and thrive while we exist. I would like to mention the sun, and the sun is the sole energy source and our major benefactor and friend, and the earth as our foundation. So these are the two major connections, and it is where we thrive, exist, develop, and process things. And as we decide what to put in our mouth, everything becomes slowly and surely part of and parcel of this human body. And we can choose to do it by a living matter or a dead flesh. Meaning, like anything else in the universe, we vibrate, and whatever we consume or whatever we put and becomes part and parcel of our body shares and becomes that vibration. In essence, we have developed the options and capacities to eat many things and varieties of food and successfully digest them, and to an extent source some benefit on the short or the long term. But nonetheless, we should be mindful that there is a price to pay for our behavior we're engaging, and that means during our times while feeding, digestion, and expression. And I'll just make a small note and put it as in a generic thing that disease, old age, underutilization of our faculties, no future offsprings, and overall low quality of lives are among the things that will be affected by the choices that we make. The sole purpose of us eating and maintaining our bodies to get us successfully through this so-called paradigm shift from mundane human being functioning with animal propensities and characteristics of procreation and multiplication to a higher understanding that we're not only meant to eat and enjoy, but develop some other higher faculties of discrimination in line of nutrition, in line of intuition, developing other unknown senses, introspection of our goals, life choices, and control of our mind. All of that can be accomplished when we realize that the food can be a breaking point or the process to healing, rejuvenation, and introspection. Now, the question arises as what we're going to investigate. And it has been said by wise men in ancient times that the urge to satisfy our hunger is stronger than the sexual gratification. And if we ever want to control our lives and would like to develop ourselves, and we want to move forward and have control of our lives and would like to develop in a sense of higher plane of existence, we stand no chance if we do not develop our will to take control over our primary animalistic tendencies. We cannot even contemplate of living a spiritual life or the practice thereof if we cannot willingly develop the capacity to overcome our so-called perceived limitations. Hence, it has been spoken about purity of mind, body, and food. And in the actual charge, what we're looking to get the boost, the fuel from our food is the electrical charge, which is going to move us forward. So every food group has been charged with the sun energy and through the solar rays, and it's full of electrical charge. And there's a minimum byproducts or waste that the body will handle through the digestion and elimination process, and minimum damage to the tissues and our cells, and the loss of energy spent, which is spent in handling all these processes. Science has been developing and researching, and in the latest years, they have come with the God and brain connection, and that should be understood and admired. They have proven that there's 2.5 pounds of gut bacteria which are living organisms in our gut, and they feed for whatever we put in our mouth. So there's a strong connection and signal between our gut and our brain. If I want to mention a few as an example, food groups or food sources, I'll mention sprouts, which represent the embodiment of a new life and unrealized potential, and they are condensed packets of pure energy. The leafy greens and the bitter stuff are for healing and rejuvenation. Most of the first organisms developed on this earth, and as well depicted in pictures in various spiritual places, religious temples and monasteries, is the organisms which develop in the medium of water. These are blue-green algae, chlorella, phytoplanktons. They consist in their body all the source from the sun and they have all the colors from the rainbow. Another thing, nuts and seeds, they represent the embryo of a new beginning. The fresh air, the clean water, which is rich from soluble minerals from the ground, from the actual earth. Then the process in fastings, different modalities in distance between meals, and eating when genuinely hungry, and the stages of hunger. All of this plays its role in our healing, growing, developing process in various facets of our being and living. What we would like to do is we would like to vibrate on a level where healing occurs, and we eat things that are directly powered by the sun and are likely to enhance our spiritual development in ways and means that we not all understand, but we do experience. We're not compelled to do anything, and we don't have to change it all. Hence, there will not be any shift in consciousness, and we won't move forward in life. We're all grown up, and at the same time, I will not open a debate at what food group is better and how long has my grandfather or somebody else's grandfather lived despite having lots of bad habits, and why do we need to change? And there's no real necessity since we have been doing well so far, and then essentially we like our habits and we like our food. On a personal note, I would like to mention that people are willing to talk about their husbands and wives and how much money they have in their bank account, but just don't tell them what to eat or how to eat. So that means it's very personal, and the environment where we have grown up, the cultural practices of eating and the habits we have developed, and the tendencies and imprints of the food choices with their vibration and chemical composition that have left on our body and mind are immense. So it takes time and effort and will in order to overcome those and realize that there are other ways. By sacrificing a few things, we can get much more in the long run. So all of this is a process like anything else, and it's a learning curve. And we can start somewhere, but we have to be willing to take that step. But nobody else can take it for us. So it's a choice that we should make. Thank you, and that will be all for me today. And I hope you have a great day.
Thank you so much, Atanas, for sharing your knowledge. It's quite an interesting take on nourishment in the body. I'm someone who studied science, the anatomy of our body, and you've given me a different insight as to how our body has the ability to feed our soul through nourishment. Like you said, the uptake of certain byproducts of food can have a direct link to the mind and to the brain. Overcoming certain things like the stages of hunger and feeding your body the right foods. I'm one who sometimes I get very hungry and I don't necessarily eat the right things. So I will going forward, I will be thinking about this a lot more and sacrificing some things to benefit all of us in the long run. That was very interesting. I particularly enjoyed all of that. So thank you very much. Moving on through today's program, we would now like to present to you the first song by Sonam Pim from Bhutan called The Smile of Karuna. I hope you all enjoy.
Do you hear the cries? Do you see the tearful eyes? The cries that defend, the tears that blind. Are we listening? Do we see? Do we care? Let me sit by your side, breathe as you breathe, with deep listening, seeing and understanding. May our hearts be light, may our love be wide. Let's free our minds. There's a smile that shines through the tears, smile of understanding, calmness and strength, smile that receive, embrace and transform. For the gift of love and fearlessness is the smile of Karuna. Do you hear the cry? Do you see the tearful eyes? The cries that defend, the tears that blind. Are we listening? Do we see? Do we care? Let me sit by your side, breathe as you breathe, with deep listening and understanding. May our hearts be light, may our love be wide. Let's free our minds. There's a smile that shines through the tears, smile of understanding, calmness and strength, smile that receive, embrace and transform. For the gift of love and fearlessness is the smile of Karuna. There's a smile that shines through the tears, smile of understanding, calmness and strength, smile that receive, embrace and transform. For the gift of love and fearlessness is the smile of Karuna.
Thank you so much for that beautiful, beautiful song. Some really nice lyrics in there, and such a great talent to be able to play the guitar and to sing. Thank you very much to Sonam Bim from Bhutan for that song, which was called The Smile of Karuna. Without further ado, I would now like to present to you our second speaker, Mrs. Veena Vora. Mrs. Veena Vora was born in Kenya and lived there for 50 years. She moved to the UK with her husband, Sagar Vora, who had experienced the American embassy bomb blast in Nairobi, after which they decided to move to the UK in the year 2000. In the UK, Veena Ben worked in a complementary health centre where they offered treatments such as cranial osteopathy, naturopathy, acupuncture, nutritional consultation, and yoga classes. All these treatments are beneficial for the body and also for the mind. At the moment, Veena Ben is retired and she likes to devote her time to the spiritual realm. With no further ado, I would now like to present to you Mrs. Veena Vora.
Greetings to all brothers and sisters gathered here on the beautiful platform to share the understanding and experience of spirituality and nutrition. We all life are part of the universal energy, which was there at the beginning, very quiet and content in itself. It's prevalent in today's time and will be there in the future for us. It is all the pervading energy, the soul, the source of universal life force, created through a big bang. Human beings have a small portion of it within the body. This divine creator's power creates the individual human being, and it migrates from one life to another until it has the desire to have the spiritual knowledge and to have a true experience of the nature of the soul. When the ultimate desire gets fulfilled, the soul wants to merge into the source, its origin, away from the elements. That leads to its original home and moksha, salvation. As Moses explained, if thy eye be single, thy body will be full of light. Our birth as a human being is a very honorable and privileged one, We have evolved physically from a single-celled amoeba to a multicellular animal living in water like the crustacea, fish, amphibians, reptilians, birds, and various levels of land living animals to Homo sapiens. And the present day human being fulfilled our desire to have a better form. Being a human being, we have developed the desire to know who we are and what purpose we have on the planet. Thus, a quest for knowing God, the energy, the creator, the divine power, and experiencing it develops. Our journey as a human one becomes of self-discovery. The human form is made of three main features: the soul, the energy, the force, the physical body made of five elements, and the mind. The experience of the divine power, acknowledging God, the energy as a force greater than one, is spirituality, accepting it as our true nature. Thus, one has a seeker, receives a meaningful connection with our source, the universal life force. When one receives this meaningful connection, one receives much joy and contentment in one's life and a purpose to serve the source. This wonderful connection comes through a proper guide who himself is fully enlightened, and our missing link to evolve and guide us to the highest understanding of life, the truth. Knowing that there is nothing more to know. When one taps into that energy by going within, everything else becomes self-explanatory. Listening to a seminar or a satsang, being in the company of the truth, nourishes the soul. This nourishment is absolutely vital for the well-being of a human being, acknowledging one's true nature and true mother and father. It also enables one to burn out the impurities that we collect on our various journeys. Watching the sunset over Lake Victoria in Kenya used to be a glorious moment of the day for me. While the tide was in, one could see the reflection of the sun in the lake. As soon as the lake, as soon as the tide disappeared, the reflection disappeared. The next day, the sun shone on the next tide. Nutrition comes from the word nux, which means light. So nutrition means processing of light, enlightenment, and receiving divine energy. We have had a great number of masters who have come and explained us enlightenment and to teach the joys of meditation and to enable us to experience that reverberating atomic mass within us all. Buddha was one of them. He came from a very princely and regal family known as Siddhartha, but was very restless when he stepped out into the world. He saw a lot of the suffering and he could not take it. He developed a quest for God. He decided to sit down and meditate without any food and guidance. He became frail until a great soul named Sujata ji understood his plight. She nourished him with good food and taught him the technique of meditation. Siddhartha's experience was so amazing, he became known as Lord Buddha and traveled as far as Japan, Thailand, India, Afghanistan, enlightening people. So nourishment of the soul and body go hand in hand. One is the engine and the other is the body. Both need nourishing. Nourishment or nutrition for the physical body is like presenting to a temple. So it has to be pure in nature. Our bodies are the living, walking, talking temple, mosque, church, gurdwara, synagogue, of the universe. It is within the sacred place we seek and experience a universal life force, the reverberating atomic mass. It's a vibration of the mass that we need to be at for optimum protection of the body. It stimulates the production of antibodies within the person. It is the highest vibration. Enjoying the simple, nourishing food is great, some carbohydrates, protein, and vegetables. Our sages lived on simple food they got obtained from their surroundings, and they lived well and meditated. Before indulging the food, they would offer it to the divine. In today's world, we all travel the planet to experience different cultures, locations, and to work. We share some of our food from different parts of the world, so universal food connects us all. We are all children of our universe, one universal energy. The Creator and Mother Nature has provided us with an abundance of organic food to enjoy. Life on the planet is divided into two kingdoms, the animal kingdom and the plant kingdom. The plants take in carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and give out oxygen and food. The animals take in oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. So the two kingdoms have a very symbiotic relationship and have lived in a very balanced way of life, and we have to respect both the kingdoms. The balance, I'm afraid to say, at the moment is being lost because man's mind has created numbers of machines and overuse of fossil fuels, creating too much carbon dioxide emissions, thus creating a dis-ease on the planet. The animal kingdom is further divided into two, the herbivorous and the carnivorous. If one has the opportunity of going into a game park, one will observe the herbivores to be very calm, gentle animals, like the elephant, gazelle, giraffe, and the zebra, unless they are antagonized. The carnivore, like the lion, when he gets up from his slumber and stalks the area and all the animals sense there is a danger, the tranquility of the area gets disturbed. So Mother Nature recommends us a herbivore diet. Plant food is a product of life and is presented as a sacred offering to the temple, the perfectly designed home of the divine energy. Seeds and nuts make a good offering too. Nourishment from the sun enables to keep the body in optimum level. The absorption of vitamin D is essential for the maintenance of the skeletal system and muscles. Daily consumption of fermented food like yogurt, lassi, sauerkraut, kombucha, kanji, fermented beetroot enables the absorption of probiotic bacteria. And we have a lot of bacteria in our gut, and they need replacement every now and then. The body requires nourishment of antioxidant vitamins. The body is made of several passageways, and these are maintained in a good condition by the antioxidants. The deep red fruits and vegetables are rich in these. One must avoid pure refined sugars at any cost and man-made saturated fats. Natural fats keep our joints, appendages supple and well lubricated. Coconut oil, butter, pure olive oil are good fats. Nourishing the body with good, clean water is vital. When we were young, every home had an earthenware water container. A glass of water from that was the best. It was cooled by natural evaporation and contained the elements of the earth. Water makes up almost 80% of body mass. Staying hydrated keeps the body performance good. A good supply of oxygen nourishes the body. Some form of outdoor activity like walking the best, running, cycling, gardening, golf are all good. Yoga performed in the sun is absolutely great. It enables the body to stay supple and to concentrate on the breath, the vital energy. Nurturing everybody around with love, compassion, and respect takes one to great levels. Sometimes a simple smile does wonders. Loving oneself is very important, and then sharing that love is of utmost importance. Traveling at various altitudes and speed of light improves body performance. Intermittent fasting improves the absorption of different foods, and it is good change in diet. Sharing our nourishment with our Creator brings in much enrichment in our lives, and it is our inherent nature to share. It brings in much needed joy and fulfillment. Pleasing someone greater and others gives much joy to the soul. So, all in all, we need to keep a great balance in our life, balance in our spiritual life, family life, social life, and workplace. It all enables us to listen to our inner guide. If one nourishes well, one meditates well, one eats well, one works well, one lives well, one sleeps well, one loves well, one thinks well. So it all becomes a win-win scenario. Thank you all for being such a wonderful audience, and many thanks to my guide. Wishing everyone a happy win-win balanced life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vinavan. Your words have definitely provoked many thoughts for me, and I hope that everyone who has joined us today has also been able to think upon your words. It was very interesting to hear about the story of Lord Buddha, who was nourished well and he became the enlightened master that we know today. And a lot of people look up to him and listen to his teachings and his way of living. And like you said, nourishment coming from all different aspects benefits us in many ways, such as the sun, vitamin D, we need that for our skeletal system, for our muscles, probiotic bacteria, antioxidants, avoiding refined sugars and man-made things such as saturated fats. I think you've definitely given us a lot of knowledge, and you've done your research, you come from that background, so I hope someone has taken something away from that today. And all in all, to keep a very healthy balance in our lives. If we're nourished well, we will do well in all other aspects of our lives. Thank you so much once again. So it's now our great pleasure to present to you from Shillong in India, our musical ensemble, the Shillong Youth Group, singing for us today the devotional song, Shout Out to the Lord. I hope you all enjoy.
To worship you.
We're deeply thankful to the Shillong Group for providing us with such a talented song and beautiful, beautiful words. I hope you all really enjoyed that. I certainly did. So now the Spiritual Awareness Journey is honoured to present our third speaker of the day, our special guest, Mahatma Dharani Baiji. Mahatma Dharani Baiji is a realized soul, an enlightened saint from Haridwar in India. She is a disciple of Shri Satpalji Maharaj, the spiritual head of Manav Dharam organization. She has successfully provided spiritual enlightenment for the past 2 decades in various parts of India, Australia, Canada, UK, Europe, Fiji, and now presently in Mauritius. She is also a doctor in Ayurveda and keeps helping people spiritually and physically as well. Her mission is to uplift the soul of man by rendering spiritual discourses on the essence of all scriptures and teaching yoga and meditation to the aspirants. Thank you.
Greetings to one and all. Thank you, Janvi, for introduction, and thank you, Tane, thank you, Vinaji, for inspiring speech. Thank you, Spiritual Awareness Journey platform, for giving me an opportunity to share my views on spirituality and nutrition. So let's start with nutrition first. So what is nutrition? Nutrition is the provision of material necessary to support life. Nutrition is the process of taking in food and using it for growth, metabolism, and repair. All living creatures, animal, birds, insect, etc., eat food. Their bodies digest what they eat and using for growth and repair of the body. There is specific food for each creature. Say, for example, cow eats only grass and lion eats only meat. They eat only certain food to be alive and to strengthen the body. Whereas the human, crown of the creation, also eat food and use for the growth and repair of the body. So animal, birds, etc. take food and the human too eat food. Then what is the difference between animal and the human for food intake? First, human has choices in food. And second, human take food for the body and for the mind, intellect and soul as well. As a human is a combination of 3 entities, body, mind and soul. Any activity or function of human has impact on these 3 entities. Say, for example, breath or breathing. Breathing, physical activity which brings oxygen in and carbon dioxide out. And breathing also helps to control the mind, and with the breath one can tap into spiritual realms as well. Mind, body and soul are interconnected. So any intake in name of nutrition has impact on interconnected basis. As another understanding is that nutrition is not only gross food but also available in energy and vibration forms as well. There is a nutrition for body growth, for mind and also for spiritual growth. So let's talk about nutrition for spiritual growth. In spirituality, nutrition is not just about vitamin, minerals, carbs, protein getting from fruit, vegetables, grains, etc., but also getting nourishment through different organs in form of vibration and energy. Different organs like ear, eyes, nose, etc. So, for example, intake from ear. Let's talk about ear. So, intake from ear is what we listen. And what we listen has the vibration or energy. So, it is said that when I speak, my vocal cord vibrates, and in form of words, that vibration coming out of my mouth, and that vibration through air travels through air and enters in your ear, and it vibrates your eardrums, and then you are listening my words. So what is happening? Vibration from one person to another person. So through ears we intake in form of vibration and energy. Nowadays sound therapy is being used for body healing and aura cleansing. The words what we listen have impact on our mind, on our mood and on our energy. And that's why for spiritual growth it is necessary to listen. But now the question is what to listen. And second question is whom to listen. So we need to listen spiritual discourses to increase our spiritual power. And another important thing is that a person who is vibrating in very high spiritual energy, if we listen his speech or lecture, then through his words we will benefit with his spiritual energy. In spiritual growth, as we vibrate through, as the vibration through senses are important, in the same way vibration and quality of food is also important. And that's why it is important to know the production, preparation and sources of food. There are three types of food. First one is sattvic, second one is rajasic, and third one is tamasic. So number one, sattvic food. Sattvic food are sweet and bland and naturally agreeable and sustainable. What sattvic food does? Sattvic food promote longevity and intellectual health and happiness and cheerfulness. Number two, rajasic food. Rajasic food are bitter, salty, over hot, dry and burning. Rajasic food causes suffering, grief and sickness. Tamasic food are half cooked, stale, polluted, tasteless and processed. And what tamasic food does? Tamasic food brings negativity and low energy. So, for spiritual growth, we need sattvic food, which are full of electromagnetic energy and biophotons. Now, next step, production. Production of food is also important. Humans' vibration and electromagnetic energy impact on the cells of the food in process of growing and production. And that energy what the food contains also affect the person who is consuming it. So, the character of a person who is involved in process of production is also matters. While cooking the food, the energy or vibration of that cook also goes in the meal. And next step, while we are eating, so what happened? While having the meal, person's mood or state of mind also affect on food. What is the source of income is also important, because with that income we buy food. From illegal or immoral resources, earning income has negative impact on the food. And it reminds me a story of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Guru Nanak Dev Ji always traveled from one place to another or to preach people. One day he visited a town, and in that town the one rich man was living. So that rich man invited Guru Nanak Dev Ji at his place, at his home. So when Guru Nanak Dev Ji went his home, and it was dinner time, so that rich man served a wide variety of dishes in front of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. But at the same time, a poor person came and he bought food for Guru Nanak Dev Ji. So now, in front of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, two kind of foods, one from rich man and the second one is from poor person. So what Guru Nanak Dev Ji did, he took the food of the poor person in one hand and the food of the rich man in the another hand and squeeze it. So what happened? So it is said that milk came out of the poor person's food and blood came out from the rich person's food. What is the meaning of it? That means one food had positive energy and the other had negative energy. The function of the body and function of the body organs is also matters in getting nutrition from food. If you are having healthy diet but digestive organs are not functioning efficiently, then it is of no use. In a spiritual lifestyle, a body is able to function in the most natural and optimum level. In other words, what we eat, we are getting maximum nutrition from it in spiritual lifestyle. So, nutrition is not about only vitamins, minerals, proteins, fat from food And it is not just about macro and micronutrition from the food, but it is also about support of life and awareness of connectivity and exchange of electromagnetic energy and vibration. It is about fulfilling the purpose of human life. Spiritual knowledge is the knowledge about invisible and infinite realms of energy. Every physical and non-physical form has its own energy field, and that energy is connecting entire universe in oneness. In conclusion, we can summarize that nutrition process is a physical and metaphysical process. Nutrition means not only macro and micronutrients from food, but also about what kind of energy or vibration it contains. Spiritual knowledge plays important role in the process of nutrition. And finally, in conclusion, there are 3 essential steps to follow for spiritual growth, which has impact on body, mind and soul. Number 1, to get positive energy to physical body, it is necessary to include fruits, vegetables, etc. in our diet, which are full with positive and pure energy. Number 2, use breath to control and calm and to energize the mind with the technique of meditation. And number 3, to allow our soul to vibrate in its natural divine vibration, and for that we need to be in the company of highly spiritual elevated soul, spiritual master and saints, and also need to listen their energetic words in the form of discourses. So that's all from my side. Thank you for listening.
Our deepest gratitude to Mahatma Dhoni Baiji for sharing her enlightened words with us all. And for me, that has given me a very holistic view on nutrition and the benefits of it, both physically and metaphysically. Thank you once again, Mahatma Dhoni Baiji. I wish to thank each of you for your presence here on our Spiritual Talk platform today. We hope that you have enjoyed today's episode. Please feel free to drop us a note with your comments, and if you have any questions, please email us at spiritualawarenessjourney@gmail.com. Check the email address in the chat box where that will be visible to you. Feel free to send questions and we'll make sure to address it in our next Spiritual Awareness Journey program, which will be held on the 8th of May 2021, which will be episode 7, and the topic is happiness. I hope you have enjoyed today's episode. A big thank you to our speakers, and thank you to all of you once again for joining us to Manav Dharam YouTube channel. I'm your host, Janvi Nanda, and from all of us here on the Spiritual Awareness Journey platform, we wish you a very healthy and joyous journey. See you all soon.